Rev up your engine! Now, Subaru's been making Outbacks since 1995. They used to look like station wagons. Now they're SUVs. Here's a 2022 Outback Wilderness. They're relatively popular. When they first sold in the first year, they only sold like 15,000, but they sell over 100,000 every year now, like clockwork in the United States. So there's got to be something behind them. Now you start out, you can see it's good looking. He added those cool lights in the grill, but this has the 1-inch lift kit on it. 1 inch isn't going to hurt anything. Beautiful blue, and I like the fender wells like it because this is, like all Subarus, all-wheel drive. This guy isn't one of those yuppies that's buying one and taking the kids to a soccer match. He actually takes it off-road. And they are off-road capable. They're not like a show off-road. They can actually be taken off-road if you want to. Now, most people want something like this. They want a reliable vehicle. So, it's a 4-cylinder engine. Now, it's also turbocharged. You can see the intercooler there. Now, as we all know, I'm not a big fan of turbochargers on gasoline engines because they wear out faster. In this case, you're going to get so much more torque when you're driving down the road. It's a worthwhile thing. These engines don't have head gasket problems like they used to. The original ones are made in Japan. You can see this one is made in the USA. But, I mean, let's face the facts. The engine and the transmission's still made in Japan. You know, they're just putting them together here. So, you know, they're solid built. There's no arguing that. Of course, it's got the electronic parking brake. Most companies are going to that. Very comfortable seats. Nice black interior. I like the touch of the little gold on the steering. Nice small steering wheel. Nice control. And for an off-roader, hey, you might want to stick your head out if you're hunting deer, so it's got a sunroof too. And as you can see in the back, lots of leg room, right? And again, solid. Open the back, it's also got a good sized trunk. It's kind of like a miniature station wagon. The early ones, like I said, station wagons, they morphed into SUVs, but you can put the seats down. Look at all the stuff you could haul. Now they got a trailer at their house and it'll tow 3,500 pounds. Not bad for a 4-cylinder engine. It is turbocharged after all. Now, if you want, this is a Wilderness after all. It'll hold 800 pounds on the top, so you can put a tent up there if you want, as long as you don't have 3 guys that weigh 300 pounds each. Of course, they're not going to be climbing up there anyway. It sounds like a typical Subaru boxer engines. They have a unique sound, just like the Volkswagen Beetle. They haven't had head gasket problems in decades. They're solid built. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the turbos, but if you're going to go off-road, you don't want to get stuck in places, and you're towing stuff like he is, they do come in handy, and he does change his oil a lot. We'll see what happens over time, but from my experience with these, they can last quite some time because these aren't like the WRXs where the kids drive the heck out of it and destroy the things. You get one of these off-road stuff. You don't off-road at 120 miles an hour, you know? You take your time when you're off-road. Unless you want to go over the cliff on the edge, which wouldn't be a smart move. You can see the fuse they added for his fancier stereo system. Now, this is a CVT transmission, but it has the fake gears to it if you want to shift it that way. So we're going to take it for a little road test. The owner of this road tested the CVTs 4 or 5 years ago, and he didn't like it. He owned a Subaru before this one too, and he tried out, it was a really old one, he tried out the CVT and one 4 or 5 years ago, and he didn't like it, but he said he likes this one a lot better, so we'll see how it does. It's got a nice backup camera, nice pixelation there, and you can see it does kind of fake shifting. It doesn't have gears, but I have to say it's a vast improvement over the older Subaru CVTs, as is the handling. It's got nice handling. We're gonna take it to our little drag strip in the sky. Seats are really comfortable, and I love this steering wheel. It's a nice small steering wheel. Lots of room for big guys so their legs don't hit it, and they're more fun driving. Power steering set up perfect for this all-wheel drive system. Doesn't oversteer, doesn't understeer. Now, I was thinking about buying a Mazda CX-9, but he likes the more space in this, and it was 10 grand more for the Mazda. I think he made a wise decision. He's got his phone hooked up, so he can do whatever he wants, and he just put it in sport mode. So here we go, off to our little drag strip. Well, there's somebody behind us, but we're stopping because it's my neighbor in his Hummer. So, here we go. We're gonna race him. Oh, he didn't know we were racing, so here we go. We'll start all over again. He went to pass me. He didn't realize I was doing my drag strip, so here we go. And there's the turbo kicking in. Nice sound. And really, now if you would have blindfolded me and told me it had an automatic transmission in it, I might have thought so, because it does have those fake gear shifts in it, which makes it much more fun to drive. You noticed it wasn't the typical CVT that will just red line all the way to 6,500 and stay there. No, it goes up and down. I gotta say, in terms of drivability, this CVT is much more drivable. Now, time will show if it holds up, but they haven't had any problems that I've seen yet with them. And this one's a year old. And of course, it's got lane avoidance and saw someone coming up the hill, and if I go over the line, it's gonna beep at us. There it is, lane departure, warning, warning. Now again, it's turbo, so look, we're going 40, let's punch it. Can you pass people? Certainly can pass people. Look at that. And the transition down was good. Now, if he's driving normal, he gets about 26 miles a gallon on a highway, not like I'm driving now. So you consider you got a turbo, it's got a lot of zip, all-wheel drive, it is an SUV. They are somewhat higher in the air, so they'll get a little bit worse gas mileage. That's good gas mileage for an off-road capable vehicle. If you ask anybody who has off-road capable vehicles, some of them get like 6-7 miles a gallon. Look, the folks, check it out. You can see what the all-wheel drive system's doing. Play around with that. The auto stop, I like the idea that you can turn it off. I find that one of the most annoying things, on top of it wearing your engine out faster. I really do have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised by the CVT work. See, it acts like it's got gears, it's acting like a shifter, it doesn't. And if you really want to go, you can put it in manual mode and fiddle with yourself with these cool little paddle shifters here. Now, a lot of times those are just toys for people to screw around with, but in this case, they have practical functions. You go off-road, you can put them as low as it goes and play with it manually, so you're not going to get stuck in the sand or the mud. Now, you notice his turn signal clicks a little fast. Well, he put LEDs. I didn't put any belts resistors in it yet, so that's his next project. Now, as I said, this is off-road capable, and these all have waterproof coatings on them, so you get wet and dirty, well, you can hose it out. You don't have to worry about it. So there you have it, 2022 Outback. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. I am not a turbo fan, but I can see the reason behind having a turbo on this. If you're going to take care of it, change the oil a lot, you're going to have a lot more torque if you're taking it off-road. And it certainly has much better passing ability than the normally aspirated ones have. The biggest surprise to me was the CVT transmission. Hey, that thing really surprised me. It acted more like an automatic transmission. The engineers at Subaru aren't stupid. They're just like Toyota. They see, hey, what do people want? Do they want something that goes like a motorboat, or do they want something that goes and up, down, and shifts? Even though it's not really shifty, it feels like it is. And it has a much better feel than flooring, and it's just rev, and you can feel the slippage. This, you really don't. I was impressed, I gotta say. They seem to have this CVT down. I haven't seen any problems with them yet. We'll see in 4 or 5 years, but it has a feel that it's gonna hold up better. And like, this is a year old, I hadn't had any problems yet, and it still works perfectly fine. As the owner reminded me, it was 10 grand less than the Mazda CX-9, but it has more room inside it. So, hey, you can pick and choose whatever you want. At least now you have an idea of what's in this, what you get with it for what you pay. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Brandon Sparks says, Scotty, I got a Nissan Versa with a MAF sensor that says 14.5 grams per second at idle. No air leaks. Is the MAF broken? Well, you better hope it's the MAF and not the computer whacking out, because yours says 14.5. So either your computer's totally whacked out of it, or the MAF sensor's bad. So change the MAF sensor first. The computers cost 100 times more, and you got to reprogram them. Usually it's just the MAF sensor. But also check the connection too, because if it's corroded and then the electricity heats it up because it's corrosion, it's got to work its way through. It can give all kinds of weird data. So do check the connector. Make sure it's not corroded green and it's all clean. If it is, change the MAF sensor. And get an OEM. Don't buy one of these Chinese junkers. Buy the original equipment one that it came with. M. Santiago says, Scotty, what do you think about a 2002 Toyota Sequoia? All right, they call them Sequoias because they're like the giant redwood trees, Sequoias, right? They're humongous. And they have big old V8 engines in them. They can run forever. But of course, They are tremendous gas hogs. If you're worried about gas mileage and you drive, a lot of mileage, I wouldn't buy one. You're going to use up too much gas. And it's a 21-year-old vehicle, too, soon to be 22-year-old vehicle. It's going to be old. Now, if you want something for a knock-around car, it could be a very good car. If you have a mechanic check it out, says it's still in good shape, they can go sometimes 300,000-400,000 miles. It's old. I don't know what kind of mileage you got on it. If you get it checked out, it's okay. I wouldn't overpay. Just don't overpay. It could be great, could run a long time, but just realize they are tremendous gas hogs. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.